Hey, Magician Frank Paris here. I wanted to show you the completed homemade. I said homemade, so if you don't like it, it's homemade. I didn't buy it. I made it. Uh, Flea Circus Carousel. Because when my fleas are good and they give good performances, when I use my flea circus, they have the opportunity to earn points. And at the end of the show, whoever's got the highest points for doing the best tricks gets to ride the carousel. And so, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to explain how I made this guy. All right? It has an on off switch here, and it's operated by remote control. So, I'll hit the remote control. I'm going to tell you all about all of the parts. And you can see how quiet that motor is. I'm right up against it with my iPhone. You can see that. Now, some of you may be guessing already what I'm using for parts, at least on the outside. Okay? By the way, I can go backwards. And there we go. Those are for the backwards fleas that didn't do a great job. I let them get on the flea circus animals too, on the carousel, so that they can get a backwards reward, which is not the best for them, but at least they get to ride the carousel also. And then, of course, the middle button stops the carousel. Okay, so let's see, how is this made? And what's underneath the hood? Okay, well, this is a cigar box. Okay, plain and simple cigar box, that's it. This is a standard 2-position toggle switch that you can buy on Amazon. I usually buy most of my parts on Amazon. And of course, when you buy a switch on Amazon, you're not buying one, you're buying like 27 of them or 15 of them for like $6 or $5 or whatever. But I build a lot of stuff, so I can always use an extra switch in my toolbox whenever I got to build something. Okay, the yellow and red that you see here, well, this is painted. The cigar box is painted red, maybe 3 or 4 coats of red paint. Again, this is homemade, so it's not the greatest looking thing in the world, but I didn't want it to be greatest looking thing in the world. I wanted it to be like a circus prop that, has been used a couple of times, at least a couple of hundred times. All right, so it's painted red, and then inside I have a yellow it sticks. It's. Let me try these. These are big square 8.5 by 11 stickers. Okay, and what you do is you get a compass and you cut out the size you want. Okay, and then you've got that center hole that holds the paper while you're making the sticker paper while you're making the cut, so you know where the center of the vinyl is all the time. So it's a vinyl kind of sticky paper that you buy. And then I got a red color, and you can buy multicolors, and that's what I did. I went on Amazon and I put vinyl sticker paper and got a bunch of sheets. So that's what this is. All right. And so that's that. And now, okay, the top is a thin piece of wood, but you can use press board or whatever for it. This centerpiece is a dowel. That's a dowel. Okay, this is one little wooden dowel. Okay, and this, if you haven't guessed yet, is a doorknob for a kitchen cabinet. It's wood. That's all that is. And I mentioned this piece of wood. I'm really not using wood here. This is very thin. I'm using press board. Okay, and these are lollipop sticks. Lollipop sticks. Lollipop sticks. So these guys are lollipop sticks. And the animals were animals that my wife had when she was a kid. I drill through the animal, it's plastic, and I just shove the animals through the pop stick. And that's basically all there is to that. One thing that I should tell you is that I just put a dab of 2-ton epoxy, I don't know if I needed 2-ton, inside each one of these guys. And then I slid them up. Okay, let them dry. I just laid them flat and let them dry. I did the same thing up here with the pop stick. I put a little dab of 2-ton epoxy, and just let it dry a little bit, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then when you stick it in there, okay, it's going to be hard to push through the hole, but when you push it through the hole, okay, it pretty much will stay where you put it. You may have to go back and forth looking and pushing it up, depending on how long before you use the epoxy. So I wait till the epoxy is like 3/4 dry on my little cardboard slab here. Let me show you. I squirt my epoxy. I got it all stuck now. Here we go. Here's one that I get stuck. I squirt my epoxy onto a piece of cardboard, okay, which I cut. And I cut extra squares of this, and I get some sticks, some wooden sticks from Michael's, and they use pop sticks. You can use whatever you want. And you squirt a little dab of epoxy here and epoxy there, and you mix it up. And you wait till it gets almost hard, and then you would come over here, and you would shove the animal through the lollipop sticks. By the way, these are lollipop sticks, if I haven't mentioned it. And then you just lay them flat so that they dry, and then shove them through here. And again, you put the epoxy in here too. So it's a process, all right? And I wanted to make my own. I wanted to make it homemade. I didn't want to go out and buy a finished small Flea Circus carousel or a Circus carousel and that kind of thing. And they're very hard to come by. I've been up online looking for them. I'm not going to lie. I went looking for one that was already made, and I just couldn't find something that I wanted. All right. So now, drilling through the animals, I used the drill press, and I found the right size drill so that the right size drill would jam fit and could be pushed through the animals, okay? Same thing with the holes up here. All right, you want to use that drill bit all the time. Again, 2-ton epoxy to glue this onto the wood, 2-ton epoxy to glue it onto the dowel, and then the dowel has got a hole in it, okay, which attaches to the motor. All right, I'm going to explain the motor in a second. All right, so everybody can see that. All right, so let's go underneath the hood. All right, this is going to be a very gentle process, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to break anything. I am using a motor from Canada. I'm going to look for it right now, so because I didn't get a chance to look at it before. This came in from Canada. It's a very slow, and I mean quiet motor. I use these for my flea circuses that I make out of cigar boxes. I installed everything into the lid, not into the base, so that when I go to open it up, there isn't wires having to be stretched to this far. So you just actually build the whole thing right into the lid. And of course, there's plenty of room in the cigar box, so that when you close it down, you got no problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go over to my computer, and I'm going to look for the motors. All right, so we'll look together, because I didn't get a chance to. Oh, did I lose it? Let me go back here. Let me just go. Let's see, number 6. Let's find out those motors. All the stuff that I purchased in my life to build props. Is that the motor? That's the motor. Okay, this is the motor. Is it? Oh, it's a buzzer, sorry. I use the buzzers for something too. Let's just go here. Let's go to number 7. Number 7, page 7. Okay, let's go back and look. These are buzzers again. I'm going to get to those motors eventually. Give me a sec. I should have been prepared for this, but I was not. Let's go to number 8. I know this is time consuming, but guess what? You're getting an education, all right? You're learning how to build something that you don't have to buy. I gotta go back here again. All right. Where are you, motors? Where are you? I go find those motors. Everybody is seeing what I have bought in the last year and a half, 2 years. Oh, by the way, these are the remote controls that I use. It's a dual diversity remote control, so that when you go to hook it up, okay, you just take the 2 yellows and you hook it up to whatever you want to activate, like a motor. And then you take the positive and the negative of the receiver and you hook it up to your battery. I usually put a toggle switch in between using the plus side. Run the plus over to the toggle switch and run the other end of the toggle switch over to the battery. And I'm using a 9-volt battery with these 9-volt battery connectors that I buy and solder on there. You got to learn to use a soldering iron, folks, too. So let's see. Here's the motor right here. This is a WAL, W-A-L, front DC 12-volt geared motor. High torque, slow speed, micro electronic motor. Let's see here. Gearbox 3. I think it's 3 to 4 RPMs. I'm sorry, 3 RPMs and 4 millimeter shaft. Now, the 4 millimeter shaft is an issue. You're going to have to attach something to the 4 millimeter shaft. It's threaded, so if you can find the right screw, okay, you can take that screw, cut the top off, jam it into a dowel, and then jam the whole, then turn the screw onto this. If you can't do it that way, get the 2-ton epoxy and drill a hole in the dowel, okay, and just glue it to the motor shaft. That's another way of doing it. All right, so that's basically it with a motor. And again, these come from Canada. And I bought these in June. I buy 4 or 5 at a time, and like I said, I use them for my cigar box flea circuses. Okay, I'm not going to tell you how, because then you'll build flea circuses and you won't buy them from me. Okay, so that's that, and let me get back to this unit here. Okay, the remote control. This is the transmitter, and of course I wired it wrong. The top one should be forward, and the bottom one should be reversed, but I'm not going to change it now. All right, so when I turn on the toggle switch, it's off now, so it's not going to work. Okay, when I go to turn it back on, okay, this should have been forward, but I wired the 2 yellow wires which come on the receiver wrong. I reversed them instead of putting them the right way. So naturally the down one here is going to make it go forward. All right, and then you've got the stop button, and then the up one is going to make it go backwards. All right, so, and again, I gave you the name of the remote control. You've seen it. You're going to take the 2 yellow, very simple, 2 yellow wires, go to whatever you want to turn on. In this case, they go to the motor here. So let's just go in and take a look.